Alright gang, time to set sail and take part in Jaws the Revenge. And this time, it's personal. Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the theater, Jaws reminds us that too much of a good thing can taint a property. I mean, the third movie should have been proof of that concept, yet Universal still insisted on making another sequel anyway. I guess that upcoming Jaws ride isn't gonna market itself. The studio was really hoping this film would make a huge splash, hence it hired Joseph Sargent to direct the film. In fact, they were so confident in his skills that it gave him only 9 months to finish everything, as opposed to the normal 2-year time window afforded to the previous Jaws movies. The end result? Well, why don't we just dive in and see how bad this shark flick really gets? So once again, we're in the viewpoint of the shark arriving in Amity Island. Doesn't take long to play the theme, but it feels kinda wrong. There's hardly any build-up when the song peaks. The shark is just traveling along with nobody in sight. We then get an introduction to the Brody family yet again. Lorraine Gary is back for this Jaws movie to reprise her role as Ellen Brody. Fun fact, she was the wife of Sidney Sheinberg, the CEO of Universal at the time of the movie's release, and she will remain so until his death in 2019. Anyway, we also have Michael Brody. He's no longer a mechanic, because they actually disregard Jaws 3D, but a marine biologist who's married to a woman named Carla. While the time difference between this and Jaws 2 is a little more reasonable than with Jaws 3D, it's still weird to see Michael grow up and start a family. In any case, Sean Brody is a police officer now, for some reason, and after what feels like a dragged out sequence, we finally get our first kill of the movie. It's for Sean. Love how there was already blood in the water before the shark even attacked him, and just as his voice is drowned out by the choir music, he is killed off rather unceremoniously. Did you know that the film wanted Martin Brody to be the opening shark chum? Good thing Roy Scheider decided not to appear in this movie! The sharks never seem to finish the meal since the body is later discovered. The Brody family is devastated, to say the least, and they intend to have a funeral service to bring over the extended family. It's sad. Very sad.
We've just come from Tiffany's house.
Poor girl, the doctors had to sedate her.
Uncle Sean is dead, you know. Will he ever come back?
Way to kill the mood, movie. Anyway, Michael tries comforting his mother, and here is where the movie really starts to lose me.
It came for him.
What?
It waited all this time and it came for him.
I don't want anyone in my family anywhere near the water. Never again. Never.
Hey, come on. You can't believe that voodoo. Sharks don't commit murder. They don't pick out a person.
Funny, that's not what you said in the third movie.
White sharks are killers. I know them, for God's sakes. My father, my brother, myself. They're murderers.
Picked out Sean. It killed your father.
Dad died from a heart attack.
He died from fear. The fear of it killed him.
Let that sink in for a moment. Martin Brody supposedly died from a fear of sharks. And because one happened to kill Sean, that's enough to drive Ellen up the paranoia wall, to the point where she forbids her family to go near the water. The shark waited for Sean? Really? Now yes, the title of the movie suggests that the shark is out for revenge, but it obviously can't be the sharks from the first 2 movies, since they freaking died! So what's this one's deal? Apparently, according to the novelization for this movie, it's the son of the shark from the second movie, who was born while the latter was being electrocuted. But it's not really the weird origin story of our killer animal that's bugging me the most. The deal breaker is that this shark behaves nothing like its real-life counterparts. I mean, none of them ever did, but now it's akin to a serial killer monster. This is what happens when you take only 9 months to film a Jaws sequel. You get a shark that seems to have a revenge motive. Also, since the studio developers never gave this shark a nickname, fans came to call him Vengeance.
Okay.
On top of the problems with our shark character, it's really depressing seeing Ellen behaving like this. She's always brooding and worrying like her former husband, but her paranoia doesn't make much sense. It also does a disservice to her character in previous movies, where she was helping others and not the other way around. She's a wreck, and you are not invested in her trying to overcome her fears. At any rate, the Brody family decide to take a trip to the Bahamas, where there's no way the shark could follow them there. Christmas is around the corner, yet Grandma Brody still won't let her grandkids play in the water. Then she has a nightmare about a shark attacking her in open water, causing her to panic some more. Yeah, get used to her freaking the hell out. It happens a lot in this movie. Turns out Ellen's fears were well-founded, as the shark followed the Brodys to the Bahamas. Because screw logic, am I right? And boy does Vengeance look bad. They don't even attempt to hide it that much, and the underwater shots show just how fake the thing really is. But can we also acknowledge the fact that a shark followed a specific family for thousands of miles? And that it might have enough brain cells to hold a grudge? Hell, why stop there? Why not let it swim in fresh water and make it appear in a lake while you're at it? Why not make it like that one stand in JoJo where it just appears in any liquid? It is in the Bahamas where we encounter a man named Hoagie, played by Michael Caine. He was the pilot flying the Brody family, and he ends up becoming a pillar of support for Ellen during her moment of need. This is probably the one thing this movie does decently, because you can definitely feel the warmth in Caine's performance when he interacts with Ellen. And you can see the two becoming closer as the movie goes on.
There's nothing to be sorry about.
No, I mean, this whole thing, the whole idea is preposterous.
I don't think so.
You sure you don't need glasses?
I'm a pilot. My vision is perfect.
But let's not overblow the good parts of this movie. Besides those relationship scenes, there's nothing really worth talking about. At this point, having the shark appear would be good, but...
Holy shit!
It's so ugly! Jaws 3D might have some of the worst visuals in the series, but this movie has some of the worst practical effects since... ever! The shark moves so slowly and awkwardly, and lingers on screen long enough for you to see the fakeness of it all. So when it attacks, it's not exciting, it's just dumb. So with the realization that the shark is around, Michael Brody and crew, including a man named Jake, played by Mario Van Peebles, decide to hunt that shark to make money. After all, a shark in warm waters is quite the freak of nature that would net some fame and notoriety if captured. You'd think Ellen would freak out over this, since she apparently has a psychic connection to whenever the shark is near one of her family, but Hoagie was able to calm her down. What follows are some scenes of the family doing things, going to a casino, celebrating New Year's. By this point, any charm the first and second movie have is but a pleasant memory. I'm convinced that this movie was just an excuse to get everyone on a trip to the Bahamas while they shot a movie on the side. Regardless, Michael and Jake are off to place a tracker on the shark, but the project ends up straining the former's relationship with Carla. Do we finally have a conflict worth a damn in this Forsaken? Nah. A minute of making out gets us back on track. The shark then comes out of hiding and, yep, still bad looking. They manage to dart it so they can now track it. That shark is not very good at taking revenge on Michael if he just leaves him alone after that. Well, then it decides to go on the attack. Just kidding. It was all just a dream. We then get more downtime as Michael ponders on the project's next step while his daughter mimics him.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it!
Next day, the shark appears again and attacks Michael. He's forced to swim away and manages to do so since the shark is slower than molasses. Though it tries to catch him in this sunken ship, Michael evades him by using his scuba tank as a boost to get out of the water. Still, quite the drop in threat level given how the previous sharks were shown to be as fast as frickin' motorboats. The shark then crashes the party on the beach where the other Brodies are at. Michael's daughter decides to go on a banana boat, and of course, shark time. It's so awful! Way too much time spent on that initial attack. And now it just looks incredibly silly when the shark finally lands a victim, who isn't even related to the Brodies at all! Damn it, Vengeance, you had one job! Ellen takes a boat to try and find the shark, leading us to the third and final act. Mike, Jake, and Hoagie go after her, and just in time too, as the shark is back for the final battle. Why didn't he do this to Michael earlier? Naturally, the three make an emergency landing, but Hoagie ends up distracting the shark while he sinks with the plane. Guess he's dead. Oh, never mind. Now there's only one thing left to do. Rig an explosive to destroy the shark. Good thing they have the tracker.
He's getting closer. They spend half their lives looking for food and the other half eating it. They don't care what it is.
Maybe he's done indigestion. He's already eaten my plane.
It's not food he's after.
Yeah, because apparently it only wants Brodies, even though it ate someone unrelated earlier. Whatever, there's only 10 minutes left in this, so let's get it over with before my brain melts. So now the shark plays hide and seek, doing so well that it fools the tracking device that's on it. Our heroes try to put the explosive in him, and what follows is an even worse attack sequence. I swear, these slowdowns just ruin the moment. They try playing it for dramatic effect, only to fail big time. I guess he's dead. Whatever. He got the charge in earlier, so now Ellen can do the one thing they brought her here to do.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
Putting aside for a moment that she was not around when Brody said that line, what the hell was that thing? That is the most pathetic looking shark I've ever seen. It really does show how small their budget was when this was the best they could do. And I feel it's worth noting that this movie received a Razzie Award for Worst Visual Effects, and that shot was part of the reason. So now everyone is stranded at sea. Sounds familiar, don't it? Oh, and Jake survives because woohoo. Everyone also says goodbye to Ellen, who is to be flown home by Hoagie. Thus, at last, ending this travesty of a movie. Well, that was certainly one of the worst movies I've seen. There was no reason to give this shark some kind of supernatural ability to track the Brody family, and Ellen's level of paranoia has virtually no basis to it. I could go on about how the movie's tie-in novel came up with some really out there reasons to explain these two characters, most notably a witch doctor that cursed this shark to go after the Brody family for some reason. But since I actually care about my sanity, let's just take those ideas as proof that sequential storytelling and basic common sense were not exactly priorities during production. In terms of casting, I only really cared for Michael Caine's performance the most. He was at least trying to make his character work, but even he can't make up for the crappy shark character. But since the action scenes in this movie are awful, you aren't looking forward to seeing the shark in action. in a killer shark movie! Jaws 3D was bad, but it was a special kind of bad that made it somewhat watchable. It was closer to what the earlier films were like, and it really made use of its SeaWorld setting. Jaws the Revenge was the total opposite. It's a boring movie that tries too hard to add paranoia without any natural build-up. How or why Universal thought it could get away with a 9-month production window will always baffle me, because there was nothing salvageable that came from it. It's just garbage. And you know what we do with garbage? We feed it to the sharks. Smile, you son of a...